So push this button like this right here.
Oh, you push the button.
Go. Let's do something amazing for season 6. Season 6 is going to be the best season ever, and we've got to do something off the chain.
Okay, I'll go to my bag of tricks. See what I can find. Funny.
No.
Okay, whatever. And then just
think about, like, there's categories to what we got to do. So there's like the main thing that we got to do, and then we got to come in and do something else, and then something else, and then there's going to be so much else that we're going to do throughout the entire show, because there's going to be a topic, and then a topic, and then a topic, and then like 3 topics, and then it gets bigger. Yes, like 6 topics. Yes, insane.
you have champagne and beer? You wild man.
Where are you going? Why is he doing that? Okay. It's just me.
I think it's done now. So, I mean, all we got to do now is start the show. I'm still cleaning my glasses. I can't start.
It's fine. No, don't start the show without your glasses.
They have to be clean. It's all right. It's about body parts, and so everything is important. And if you don't do it right, then you don't do it at all.
If I had $1 million for every time you called me a wild man,
you'd have 10 million, according to at least 11 million, according to show number 10. I think. Yeah, you'd be rolling in the dough.
Yeah, why does everybody want a nickel for every time they hear something? Why not cash out?
That's stupid. Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I was like, okay, you'd have like 20 cents.
Well, why not level up and be like, if I had $45,000 for every time I heard that bullshit?
Like, yeah, I'd be a rich man. You never know. Maybe one day somebody's like, hey, it's your lucky day. 45K for you. Boop, 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 boop. More money.
Times however many times I've heard it. Like more or less, that's an amazing shirt. Where did you get it? And I'm like, $45,000, Thailand. Thank you.
There you go. And you know what else you do? Look, sometimes you get lucky enough to sell the shirt off your back. I've done that before.
Fun fact, I was sitting at a bar with a good friend of mine in New York. Was sitting at the Hog Pit when it was still open, and somebody walked in with a shirt that said Hill Country Barbecue, which, being from Central Texas, I thought Hill Country Barbecue I was like, where's that from? He's like, oh, I actually work around the corner. I'm just here on my break to take a few shots. I'm like, I want your fucking shirt. Yeah. And I was wearing a 7-Up shirt. He's like, I like 7-Up. And we traded shirts. And I don't know what he did going back to work in a different shirt, but I had a Hill Country Barbecue shirt that was not from the Texas Hill Country. I loved it.
Oh man, that's dope. That tops mine. I just had a chick in Bar Louie pay me $50 for one of my Bob Ross t-shirts, but you know, it's okay. I didn't have another shirt to put on, but that was the end of the evening at that point.
You were walking around Bar Louie, Omie D topless?
Oh no, at that point we left. It was time to go because we were topless. So, and we were $50 richer. So, so there you go.
Cash out at that point.
Cash out. Level up is what we say.
That's level up, yeah. Yep. I don't want a nickel for things. If I had a nickel for every time I talked about 3D printed body parts,
you'd have 5 nickels.
Not even. I've never talked about 3D printed body parts until today.
Yeah, which is very interesting because I have no fucking clue what to expect. It's amazing.
So what do you think then? What do you think? You think of 3D printed body parts. Does this come to mind?
Yeah. I mean, something similar. I just wouldn't expect to have to, use the, kind of like, twist them apart, like, putting together operation or something like that. But I was thinking like maybe a foot, maybe
a foot. He starts off with a foot. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a wild man. If we're printing body parts, like maybe a John Bobbitt special for all of those kids of the '90s that remember that. Maybe one of those. And but I can see that something like a spinal column or something, one of the vertebrae, something like that.
You're not naming any of the easy stuff at all.
What is the easy stuff to print? Like kidneys and spleens?
Kidney, as we'll learn, is probably about the most difficult thing to print possible, because I mean, I don't mean prosthetic.
Oh.
I'm not talking about a prosthetic foot.
Okay.
I'm not talking about a cadaver bone or a filler bone or something for the spine on a spinal fusion.
Okay.
I mean 3D printed body parts.
So just like this that we're seeing here, like, so you're gonna put a mini person together or something like that?
There you go. Okay. Well, now you're talking about the controversies that are there. So, do you know much about 3D printing?
Yes, I know about 3D printing.
Tell me about it.
It uses that spool up there of some type of material that's durable, and you give the printer a program basically through an application that gives it a blueprint of how to print, and it prints stuff on top of stuff, which makes
it stacks it up from the bottom, it builds it up. Absolutely. And all kinds of things are being printed right now. People have 3D printers in their house, and they can print anything from guns to toys to inanimate objects, right? Even the foot you were talking about, you could print a prosthetic foot, and take your measurements and everything that would fit onto, like the end of a foot or end of a leg or missing a foot, or an arm, or a prosthetic. You could even have a prosthetic nose or an ear that you could easily print, arguably at home, that was just looked like the thing, right?
Yeah,
but it's not.
It's got to get the skin tone. But this is not the same thing we're talking about, right? Or are we talking about this?
We're getting there. Yeah.
Okay. So we use one of these to print a liver.
Yeah. Would you like to print a liver? Is that?
I mean, I don't want to eat one, but I've had enough to drink that I probably should start working on a backup plan.
There you go. Yep. Something. Yeah. So you mentioned that it's got materials that come out of the top. So do you know what those materials are? What can you do 3D printing with?
You mean they are printed with metal and sand and glass and human tissue and polymers? Yes.
Well, yeah. So you know what polymers are, right? Plastic.
Yeah. They stick together. They make substances that are not just flat. They can be, sticky and bulky.
Yeah. So you run that blueprint in there, and it starts at the base, and it starts going and going and going and going, and then it builds up, your little object or your little character, or a lot of the characters like you have sitting around. You can build a lot of those on a 3D printer. Yeah. You can even build it to where they have joints and they can move. So it can even absolutely. Okay. For example, like any solid structure, we built a sand castle last week. We're on the coast, and
with a 3D printer at the beach.
Yeah, but it was with buckets, and we had sand, and then you put it on, and then you shape it, and then you put another one, and then you shape it. But it's the same idea, right? Like you build the base, and then you shape it, and then you build the base, and then you shape it, and you go and go. But the materials are always sand.
Yeah, sand makes glass if you use a spaceship to heat it up or some other substance.
Or a nuclear bomb.
Or that, it makes glass. It's just got to get really hot. And you use sand and polymers and probably oil and everything right now.
Yeah, especially if you're planning ahead and you're really looking at the blueprint, and the blueprint has more than just sand as the ingredient, and that's where things start getting complicated. Is the more you add to the blueprint that this printer is supposed to print, not just a layer of sand and then this, kind of like the technology that you use to make microchips on top of the wafer, where you've got the photolithography, and then you add a metal, and then you etch it off, and then another photolithography, and then you etch it off, so that all these different layers are connecting everywhere. Same kind of process is going, because you have different things in there, but you have to know what you're using for all of it. And you add the right blueprint in there, you can start building some pretty big structures.
Wait, what the fuck?
It's like a house, or a dwelling.
What is that thing to the right? It looks like a cool something.
That is a Dior retail outlet.
Oh, that was built with the 3D printer.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here, Dior. That is amazing. And so this man's job here is just to watch the printer go do its thing.
I think his job is to watch what it's doing, but it's going around and it's building these walls and these layers and everything, and it's such a large scale, right, that if you've got electrical or pipes or conduit or whatever you're running in there, you just have to leave room for it, and then you can go in later and add to it, right? Because it's such a large scale that you're just arguably just building the walls from ground up, and then you can go in and start adding in things later.
I got you. All
So
right.
you've got some body parts, which, if it was like a prosthetic for a leg or an arm, or just a body part that was there to either support something but not function as the real body part would, that would work just fine to be able to build it up and add cosmetics or whatever you need to it. Kind of like a sandcastle being built. It's inanimate, so it doesn't, it's not entirely required, right?
Yeah.
But as you start looking at more and more things that are functional and living, that blueprint is going to get more and more complicated. Imagine that in that house you could print the walls and the electrical and the plumbing and include the water as you were going through it. That's what we're looking at in the 3D printed body parts as we're getting into functional organs.
Look at that. I mean, that printer in the top. Look at that thing. Look at the precision needle that is dropping that sand on that thing.
Yep.
Amazing.
So the nose and the ear over there are just prosthetic. So if you just were missing an ear, you put this on here and it just looks like you have an ear. It's not a functional ear, right? And then that arm there is just a cast or something that you can put on there to be able to build around it, because the idea of this is getting so complicated that how do you print it? And you've got to start printing at the cellular level.
Whoa. You're saying they are about to start printing stuff at the cellular level.
Not only saying that, but they're already doing it.
I mean, I'm not upset about that. That is amazing technology. You mean they're putting a body part together with building cells to create muscles, to create tissue, to create skin, to create an arm.
Yep. So we talked about the different building blocks, the metals and the glass and the sand and everything. So in order to do that, you got to know what different cells you have, right? So in order to build it, you've got to know all of those. Nerve cell. Yeah, you got all those right there. I see them. I see them all.
All my cells.
All of them. But you got to know, it's not just a bucket of sand to build the sandcastle. Now you got to be like a grain of sand, a rock, a piece of water, and like start building it so you can build this entire thing from muscles to bone cells. Like if you're going to 3D print a bone, this isn't just something that's a placeholder. I'm talking about a bone that has vessels and blood flow, and it connects to the body and becomes part of the body. So we're talking about things that become living tissue, not just a toy gun or a building or a prosthetic, but something that's actually put in place as part of the body, the structure.
So we can't expect this structure to grow, can we?
You absolutely can.
What? Shout out
So
to that John Bobby special with sperm cells in it.
So, like if we're talking about the house, right? And you're building the house, you're building the walls, and you're building the pipes, and you're building the electrical all along the way. You can't just add water. Some things like that, it's floating in water.
Yeah.
So as you're building these organs, they're sitting in like jello kind of thing. It's called a hydrogel. So that you go into the hydrogel, which is going to support the life that you're growing in there. And as you put live cells in there, one cell by one cell, into this hydrogel, they can start connecting and living and growing, and you're putting the right ones in there. That the more you know about the...
Whoa. You mean they're using live cells as the filament for the 3D printer?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of town.
Okay.
I thought they were still throwing plastic up in people.
No, that would be a prosthetic. That would be something that's just a fixed thing.
That's
I'm talking
crazy.
about body parts, not prosthetics.
No.
Body parts.
That's actual real body parts, dude. Okay.
Yep. So
all
this
right.
is
I follow
the
you.
idea of it. Yep. So the heart has smooth muscles, nerve cells, blood vessels, and they're all in very specific areas, right? So the machine to print a 3D printed heart, a working heart, has to be able to alternate between the different cell types within the hydrogel so that it puts them exactly where they're supposed to be.
You're kidding me.
Those machines exist.
Wow, a bioprinter. I am floored right now because I was always thinking it was going to be that plastic stuff, but they're using cells that they have replicated in science to build actual organs for people.
Yep.
Oh,
so they're creating simpler organs, not like a liver. A liver is actually pretty complicated because of how dense it is. So they don't quite have the ability to create such dense organs. But they're making things like bones, because you can create the bones there, skin, ears, noses, because it's not too complicated. So they'll take somebody's cartilage, actual cartilage, and start growing more so that they have your cartilage growing, and then they put that into the machine, and then they'll 3D print your ear from your own ear cartilage with your own skin. So you're literally growing your own ear in a petri dish, and then when they attach it, it's able to actually function. Now, as an ear that can grow and cut and repair itself, it's turning into an ear. Now, I don't mean the hearing part of it, but I mean the physical part of the ear or the nose that is a real nose, your real nose that they're attaching to you.
Oh, this takes cloning to the next level.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of complications around who's regulating things, who's allowed to do things. So the 3D printers for this exist. The laws and regulations about it do not. So
sounds like AI to me.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. So we could have AI figuring out how to print a whole nother version of me.
Yep.
Would it be a baby at the beginning and have to go through life all over again?
It wouldn't matter. So one thing that they're doing right now is they're playing around with some of these tissues to create hearts. And one thing that they're recognizing is they still have a lot of research to do on how the heart is put together because they're not getting it quite right. But they've made smaller hearts, smaller lungs that all function. But the heart, for example, does not beat the way a natural heart beats. So they still have some research to do there. They are able to take these parts, these lungs, which is super complicated, hearts, and they're able to put them into animals right now and function for a short period of time.
Okay, so you just might have to get a new heart every couple weeks.
Right now, but of course you're not allowed to do that right now. All that they've been able to do legally or, is ears and noses and some minor body parts that are not fully functioning parts that would keep you alive. But they're getting closer and closer to it. The machines are online already.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There are companies that are starting to use the machines and figure out more and more about what they can do.
I love it. I'm already thinking about ways that I could be cloned for the betterment of society.
And I like that's where you go, because
Mm-hmm.
screw all the people that are on a waiting list for a new heart or a new lung.
Right?
I mean,
look,
who's worried about the nearly 30 people that die a day who don't get the replacement part that they're waiting for, you know? Yeah, we could clone Omar.
I mean, like, we got more than one printer, right? Hey, come on. Best Buy is like right around the corner. Like, somebody's got to have, look, this can't be the only one. You bullshit me. I know how they rate these things. There's got to be multiple ones. Look, can we put one? Look, 2 Omie D's. Think about this. We'd have a 3-person talk show.
Omie double D's.
I almost spit my beer out on this microphone with that one.
Yeah, I saw that. Timing.
Omie double D's. Boy, boy, boy. The D stands for dangerous, I tell you. That's what's truth. So look, the problem with the heart is the rhythm. I think you can't find the rhythm of a person. You have to, it has to live. I think you have to have the heart live with that other heart. Like, you got to connect it to something and make it get that rhythm. So it gets that timing. And then once it's like, all right, now we're going to take your heart out. And it's like, cool. And then and they just punch the other one in and then sew them up. And then it's like, hey, I remember what I was doing a second ago. And then like, do. See, I think that's the problem.
What's crazy is doing the research. That's exactly what scientists say.
See, am I a genius or what?
What? I mean, yes.
That's true.
So if you've got some investments ready, let's talk about what some companies are doing.
4Ds in this.
There's a company called Precise Bio that is focused on 4D printing. And it sees.
Whoa.
They are working on corneas and retinas, which they're already able to create and implant with people, so that you have a living, functioning. So living, functioning means blood can get to it. You could scratch it. It can repair all the normal things that a cornea and a retina can do. They're creating those and able to implant those for people now, and they're working towards the entire eye.
So you mean blind people could possibly be seeing people?
Absolutely.
Replace get these out of here.
Yep. So where there's still a lot of regulations on what you can 3D print body part wise and implant in people, there's a company called Organovo.
Oh yeah.
Who 3D prints diseased models of hearts and lungs and livers, and so that they can create something that's cancerous. They create something with diseases on it, so that research can do real live experiments on this live diseased organ without having to wait for somebody to be halfway dead.
That's genius. That's genius. Create the problem and then fix it.
Yep.
I've seen that in a lot of movies. They usually end up in like a big column full of water, and they're just like,
right.
And someone's like, no, and they smash it, and they all like fall out and die because they live in water. Is that what it's like up there?
Yeah, exactly. And this is already happening. This is a just under $2 billion industry right now.
Oh man, I can't believe there's places where people are in things are in tubes of water, like in a science movie, and they're just walking around. They're like, and this is a spleen, and it's just sitting there looking like, hello, I'm a spleen, and it's like playing the organ or something. That's so
correct. There's another company called CellLink.
Oh yeah.
And they are working on single cell dispensers. Do you know what a single cell dispenser is?
It's like a Pez dispenser for sales. It has a thing and it pops up, and so they stick it in your body, and it's just like bloop, bloop.
Yep.
Bloop, and they can give you like a favorite sports team or a cartoon character if you want.
Yep. So it sounds like a 3D printer, which it is.
Oh.
But it's very, very specific. That does not require the hydrogel. Remember the jelly that something had to go in to be able to get it? So that now a cell dispenser could aid in surgery. After a surgeon cuts out the problem area or a cancer or an organ or the damage, the single cell dispenser can go in and start layering and rebuilding the organ within the body. And you don't need the Jello mold. You just put it right where it's supposed to be. So you can literally go in and line by line, put new bricks and mortar. Just
how fast does that son of a gun work?
Slow.
So you're just gonna leave this person wide open while this thing is building for like 3 days?
One, if the alternative is death, yeah, you try it. Two, this is early research, right? Like they're not expecting these things to be used for the next 7 to 10 years. But right now, these companies right here are working on exactly these things within the 3D printed body part industry.
So I still will think of the Cell Link as a giant Pez dispenser.
It is.
That's a better idea in my head. It sounds better than thinking about a dot matrix printer printing a kidney inside of me right now. Yep. I'm with that. Texas Rangers Pez dispenser, cell dispenser, please.
There you go. Got it.
10-cent beer night. Check it out. This is amazing.
Yeah, fun.
Oh my God. So the eye thing is super cool because think about this. You could whoa. You know what? There's a lot of controversy here. Some of these things would put certain people out of business. So now these people now have to work under security because in the movies, they get taken out by a mysterious figure in a trench coat.
Sure.
You got to watch that.
So a lot of this is done through stem cells, which is controversial.
Oh, I remember that episode of South Park with Christopher Butthole Reeves. And
then what's really great is a lot of the materials that they use for this come from the person's body directly. But so all the cells that you need to grow an eyeball or anything, they will harvest from you and then grow outside. So it's literally your cells and your eyeball that they're able to implant in you. You don't need to go find random ones. They grow it from yourself. I'm
good with that. If I need something, I'll sign that. Go ahead.
It improves the chance or the likelihood of rejection, so that you will be more likely to accept the body part that is literally your cells. So that you get a donor heart or a donor lung or a donor eye. You might reject it. Like your body's not going to be compatible with it. So you're improving the chances that the implant, the implant will take.
I'm down with that. Like if it's your own cells, that makes sense. Like you totally are like, hey, do that thing, and now you got these cells, and you make whatever you want. Like I just need to get the dispenser to print faster.
Yep. So we go from complicated topics like 3D printed body parts and can dive in, and then the show can immediately switch and go straight to a topic like potatoes.
French fries. French fries are actually a fancy way that they do potatoes in France. That's why they call them French fries.
Correct. Where'd you learn that?
I put it together because I figured they put French fries and French toast on the same plate and call it a French double.
French plate. French breakfast.
French breakfast. I like that. Look, we're going to learn interesting stuff about potatoes. Do you know potatoes are not a vegetable?
They would be a root. They would be a tuber.
Tuber. I love potatoes. Oh, I want to bake potato now. This show is great. Look, this is okay. Wait, how many shows do we have left? I don't want to get sad and cry.
2 shows left. We got 12 episodes this season. We've done 10 as of now. Next week, episode 11, potatoes.
And then it's the last one after that.
Not ever, but just for episode or season 6.
Oh, that means I need to make a new intro for season 7.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
You might have a friend working on that.
Okay, well, tell Charlotte thanks. I appreciate that. She's amazing. She's amazing.
That's funny. Yeah.
That was great. I can't wait. Now I'm like really intrigued, and I want to find out more about this organ printing thing and all this research. So now you give me something to look at on my computer. Since I don't have social media anymore, it's been great. It's gone. I hate it. But anyway.
Omie D needs to get back on the Twitter. Help me out there. And
I forgot about that part.
One thing we can look at is invest all of our Omie D Learns money into one of those 3 companies.
We could do that, or we could invest in a commercial on Hulu.
I don't know. Organ Ovo seems pretty smart to me.
I'm just saying, let's talk about it. I could probably split between both because we need the monies.
Or we can go back 300 years and invest in potatoes. Hashtag Ireland. Hashtag England. Hashtag Earth.
Yeah, you need that. Yeah. Hashtag see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.